The broken moonlight sliced through the darkened sky, sending glimmering rays across the forest, where the urgent sound of pounding hooves reverberated like an omen of despair. Anna burst from the house, her breath quick and shallow, merging with the piercing whistle of the wind slicing through the trees. She disregarded the bone-chilling cold and the tremors that danced down her spine. All she understood was that Stellan had disappeared, and the shadows enveloping her appeared to consume every conceivable explanation. The barn door stood ajar, its hinges groaning softly as the wind played with it. Within, an emptiness lingered, cold and desolate, as if the very essence of life had been wiped clean from the surroundings. Stellan. Anna's scream pierced the stillness, a desperate sound consumed by the oppressive emptiness. The delicate hoofprints imprinted in the moist earth outside meandered directly toward the shadowy embrace of the distant forest. She understood the necessity of following, yet with each step, dread coiled itself more tightly around her, an invisible grip tightening its hold. As she journeyed further into the woods, the glow of her lantern waned beneath the suffocating embrace of the advancing shadows. The wind howled in rhythmic bursts, transporting the rustling leaves that echoed hauntingly like the whispers of forgotten spirits. In that moment, a distant whinny pierced through the heavy silence. It lingered softly in the air, yet its presence was undeniable. A wave of resolve enveloped Anna, driving her onward as murky water splattered against the edge of her coat. Stellan. Where might you be? She cried out, her voice trembling beneath the burden of her escalating despair. At last, she arrived at a modest clearing, where the moonlight streamed through the foliage, creating an ethereal radiance. There she beheld him, Stellan, poised in complete stillness. Yet, he found himself in the company of others. Beside the horse loomed a figure, tall and still, their back presented to her in silent solitude. They remained motionless, imposing and unsettling, as though anticipating an event. Or perhaps an individual. Anna stood still, her heart racing with such intensity that she feared it might explode. Who goes there? She called out, her voice quivering yet laced with a subtle defiance. The silhouette gradually pivoted. The faint moonlight illuminated a man's visage, his features ghostly and nearly ethereal in its radiance. His eyes shone with an otherworldly brightness, fixating on hers with a fervor that suggested he could decipher her innermost thoughts. Initially, he remained silent, merely lifting a hand to softly caress Stellan's mane, a movement that conveyed a sense of intimacy while also hinting at an unsettling possessiveness. You shouldn't be here, Anna, his voice rumbled, deep and icy, as if he had known her for an eternity. At that instant, the forest appeared to pause in anticipation. Anna stood frozen, her legs heavy as if bound by an unseen force, while her mind raced with questions that remained trapped behind her lips. Yet, a singular thought resonated more profoundly than all others. How is it that he knows my name? The faint light of the lantern in Anna's shaking hand struggled to penetrate the oppressive shadows of the forest. Her heart thudded with an unyielding rhythm, and the haunting image of the enigmatic man's gaze, those disquieting, all-seeing eyes, lingered stubbornly in her thoughts. The manner in which he uttered her name, as if they shared a long history, sent a chill racing down her spine. Her breath quickened, each inhalation echoing the rhythm of her hurried steps as she made her way back to the farm. Yet she was not coming back to find solace. A feeling awakened within her. An insistent fixation, a feeling that the tale of Stellan and the enigmatic figure began long before this moment. It was intertwined with a history she had yet to discover. As Anna entered the barn, The chill in the air felt heavy and stifling. She settled into the weathered wooden chair in the corner, her hands quivering as she placed the lantern on the earthen floor. Her gaze drifted without purpose until it settled on the wall adorned with Lucas's tools and gear for Stellan. A small wooden box hung there, unnoticed until this moment. What appeared to be so commonplace now carried an air of intention, as though it had been poised for her arrival. With trembling hands, Anna rose and approached it, lifting the lid with a mix of anticipation and trepidation. Within lay a collection of time-worn papers, their edges frayed and their centers a blend of faded ink and deteriorating wood. Her gaze lingered on the initial letter perched at the summit of the pile. The handwriting, though faded, remained sufficiently clear to decipher. Evelyn, should you come across these words, I urge you to honor your promise. Safeguard Stellan. And ensure that Lucas remains oblivious to the truth. The signature below coursed a shiver through Anna's whole being. Clara. The name held no significance for her, yet its presence lingered oppressively in the atmosphere. Lucas had never spoken of anyone by the name of Clara. Questions surged through Anna's mind. Who was Clara? What hidden truth was Lucas meant to remain oblivious to? Anna turned the pages of the other letters, each one heavy with a growing sense of foreboding. Clara's words crafted an image of Lucas that was equally enchanting and daunting, a figure she cherished yet dreaded. One passage, in particular, quickened Anna's heartbeat. Lucas is not the person you believe him to be, Evelyn. He possesses a duality. One is the dashing gentleman who offers you the universe. Yet the other. Another presence looms, an inescapable shadow. If I dare to voice my thoughts, he vows to strip me of everything I hold dear, even Stellan. Anna felt a constriction in her throat. This was no mere love triangle. Lucas concealed a shadowy secret beneath his seemingly calm facade. Clara had undoubtedly cherished him, yet their bond was anything but conventional. The atmosphere was fraught with peril, menacing in its intensity, and it seemed to culminate in the unsettling mystery of Clara's vanishing. She stood up, gripping the letters firmly in her hand, her thoughts swirling with a tempest of questions. Evelyn. She must have known something. Clara had placed her trust in Evelyn with these letters. What could have led Evelyn to never speak of Clara? What could have compelled her to conceal this truth? Without hesitation, Anna dashed toward Evelyn's quaint little house, nestled close to the barn. The dwelling lay shrouded in shadows, with only a delicate beam of light filtering through a narrow fissure in the door. She pounded on the door, her urgency eclipsing any semblance of restraint. The door groaned as it opened, unveiling Evelyn's weary yet keen gaze. Anna. What is happening? Evelyn inquired, her tone laced with uncertainty. Yet, before she could utter another syllable, Anna forcefully placed the pile of letters before her. You've been hiding this from me, Anna said, her voice quaking with a blend of fury and fear. Clara. Who is this enigmatic figure? What role does Lucas play in all of this? Evelyn stood still, her gaze locked onto the letters as if they bore a sinister spell. Without uttering a word, she took a step back and gestured for Anna to enter the room. As she settled into her chair at the kitchen table, Evelyn released a deep, weary sigh. Her gaze wandered into the distance, as though she were grasping for memories hidden deep within. Clara. Evelyn commenced, her voice soft and measured. Clara found herself in a world of endless possibilities, where each moment unfolded like a page in a captivating novel. Her thoughts danced like characters in a story, weaving together the fabric of her experiences. With every breath, she embraced the narrative of her life, eager to discover what lay ahead. Text the one who once held Lucas's heart. She resided here, on this farm, long before your arrival. Lucas once declared that she was the sole woman he had ever genuinely loved. Evelyn halted, her expression contorting in anguish. Yet, it was far from straightforward. Clara yearned to break free from him. She unearthed a revelation about him. A secret Lucas wished to keep hidden from the world. What could it have been? With her heart racing, Anna leaned forward, pressing her point with determination. Evelyn's gaze met Anna's, a shadow of seriousness crossing her features. I'm not entirely certain. Yet, I am certain that Clara vanished on the very night she confided in me about her plans to escape. Lucas asserted that she departed of her own accord. Yet, I find it hard to place my trust in his words. I listened to their heated exchange that night, and by dawn, she had vanished. A shiver coursed through Anna, reminiscent of a frigid breeze that had suddenly invaded the space. And what of Stellan? What prompted Clara to claim that Lucas would seize everything, including Stellan? Evelyn gave a slight shake of her head. I'm uncertain. Yet Clara cherished that horse above all else. Stellan was the sole reason she lingered here for as long as she had. I believe. It seems to me that Stellan possesses insights beyond our comprehension. Anna gazed intently at Evelyn, her thoughts swirling in a tumult of inquiries, each one more pressing than the last. Clara's vanishing act, Lucas's hidden truths, and now this peculiar suggestion that Stellan was, in some way, at the heart of it all. Everything felt disjointed. And yet, everything seemed intertwined. I don't know what to do, Anna admitted, her voice barely rising above a whisper. All that I believed I understood about Lucas. Everything is a deception. Evelyn extended her hand over the table, her gaze gentler yet still tinged with a lingering sadness. Anna. I lack all the answers. However, one thing stands out distinctly. Lucas is not the person you believe him to be. Clara bore the consequences of her quest for the truth. Exercise caution. Whatever path you choose to embark upon next, exercise utmost caution. The dim light of the lantern clutched tightly in Anna's shaking hand struggled against the suffocating shadows that enveloped the forest. Her heart continued to race, echoing the unsettling vision of the man's gaze, those peculiar, all-seeing eyes, and the manner in which he uttered her name, as if they were bound by a past she could not recall. With each step she took back toward the farm, her breath became increasingly labored, yet she had no intention of returning to rest. A stirring sensation welled up within her, an unsettling suspicion that the tale of Stellan, the enigmatic figure, and now Evelyn transcended the boundaries of the present moment. It was linked to a history she had never been informed of. As Anna entered the barn, the air felt colder and denser than before, as if the very space were holding its breath. She settled into an aged wooden chair in the corner, her hands trembling as she set the lantern upon the earthen floor. Her gaze wandered listlessly until it settled on the wall adorned with the tools Lucas had set aside for Stellan. Amidst the disarray, a small wooden box lingered in silence, one she had never observed until now. Its modest existence now seemed almost intentional, as if it had been patiently anticipating her discovery. She rose, approaching the box with tentative strides. With a quiver in her hands, she lifted the lid, uncovering a collection of time-worn papers, their edges tinged with yellow, and a subtle scent of aged ink intertwined with the aroma of rotting wood. The initial letter drew her attention, its delicate handwriting barely discernible yet sufficiently clear to comprehend. Evelyn, should you come across these words, I urge you to honor your promise. Safeguard Stellan. And ensure that Lucas never discovers the truth. The signature at the bottom struck a chord deep within Anna's chest. Clara. The name was foreign to her, yet it bore an unexplainable significance. Lucas had never spoken of anyone by the name of Clara. Questions surged in her mind like an unstoppable tide. Who was Clara? What truth lay beyond Lucas's reach, shrouded in secrecy? Anna sifted through the remaining letters, each one increasingly desperate, their phrases laced with a palpable tension. Clara's portrayals of Lucas were infused with a blend of admiration and an unsettling sense of dread. One passage left Anna momentarily breathless. Lucas is not the person you believe him to be, Evelyn. He possesses a duality of character. One possesses kindness, charm, and an abundance of promises. Yet the other. Another presence lingers, an inescapable shadow. If I dare to voice my thoughts, he vows to strip me of everything I hold dear. Even Stellan. Her throat constricted, and a shiver coursed through her frame. This was not just a typical love story that had taken a wrong turn. Lucas concealed a shadowy secret beneath his refined facade. Clara undoubtedly adored him, yet their bond had been far from secure. It was perilous, menacing, and it appeared to culminate in Clara's vanishing. She grasped the letters more firmly, her thoughts swirling with inquiries that seemed too immense to contain. Evelyn felt an undeniable urge to uncover the truth. Clara had placed her trust in Evelyn regarding these letters. What was it that kept Evelyn from ever mentioning her? What could have compelled her to conceal this? Without a second thought, Anna took action. She dashed toward Evelyn's quaint cottage, its outline faintly discernible in the shadows. As she drew near, a faint glow filtered through the curtains, indicating that Evelyn was still awake. With a fierce determination, Anna struck the door, her urgency eclipsing any lingering sense of propriety. The door creaked open, revealing Evelyn, her expression tired yet her gaze keen. Anna, what brings you here? Evelyn's voice held a calmness, yet it was tinged with an undeniable curiosity. Before another word could escape her lips, Anna propelled the bundle of letters forward, offering it with urgency. You've been hiding this from me, Anna said, her voice trembling with a blend of fury and longing. Who is Clara, and what connection does Lucas have to her? Evelyn stood still, her eyes fixed on the letters as if they were a spell that had materialized before her. She paused before responding, taking a step back and gesturing for Anna to enter. Once settled at the kitchen table, Evelyn released a deep, trembling sigh. Her gaze wandered to distant realms, as though she were sifting through the shadows of memories hidden deep within her mind. Clara, Evelyn began, her voice thick with a weighty sense of remorse. Clara found herself in a world of her own, where every thought danced like a whisper in the wind. The sun cast a golden hue over her surroundings, illuminating the path ahead with a promise of adventure. Each moment felt like a page waiting to be written, filled with the potential of stories yet the one who once held Lucas's heart. She had called this farm home long before your presence graced its grounds. Lucas once declared that she was the sole woman he had ever genuinely loved. Evelyn paused, her face a canvas of conflicting emotions. Her gaze snapped to Anna's, an interplay of fear and determination etched across her features. The complete truth eludes me. Yet, I am aware of this. Clara vanished into the shadows the very night she confided in me about her departure. Lucas asserted that she departed of her own accord, yet I find his words hard to trust. I listened to their voices clashing in the darkness that night. As dawn broke, she had vanished. The atmosphere turned frigid as Evelyn's words lingered in the air. Anna felt a shiver run down her spine, an unsettling premonition settling in her bones. What about Stellan? What could have led Clara to believe that Lucas would take everything, even Stellan? Evelyn shook her head, her lips sealed in a firm line. I'm uncertain. Yet Clara cherished that horse above all else. He served as her steadfast anchor. What tethered her to this place for as long as she remained? I believe. It seems to me that Stellan possesses insights beyond our comprehension. Anna sat in silence, her thoughts swirling tumultuously. Clara has vanished. Lucas harbors hidden truths. And now there's this unsettling suggestion that Stellan might be at the heart of it all. Everything seemed chaotic, yet an undeniable thread wove through it all. Evelyn's voice pierced the haze of Anna's swirling thoughts. Exercise caution, Anna. Lucas is not the person you believe him to be. And what of Clara? She bore the consequences of her quest for the truth. With the letters tightly grasped in her hands, Anna stepped away from the cottage, her heart weighed down and her thoughts swirling in a tempest. As she strolled back toward the house, the wind wailed through the trees, echoing a foreboding message. Upon her arrival, an unsettling feeling lingered in the air. The front door stood slightly open, a puzzling sight, for she vividly recalled securing it with a firm click. A dim glow danced in the living room, throwing ghostly silhouettes upon the walls. Is that you, Lucas? Anna's voice trembled as she called out. Silence enveloped the moment, leaving no reply in its wake. As she entered, the sound of her footsteps reverberated through the unsettling silence. The living room remained pristine, save for one conspicuous element. Lucas discovered that his laptop was missing. With a heavy heart, Anna hurried up the stairs to the bedroom. The space lay barren. Lucas had vanished. The house exuded an unsettling aura, as if it had been forsaken in a hurried escape. A creeping unease enveloped her as she came to the unsettling realization that Lucas was not merely absent, he was fleeing. But from what source? Or from whom might it be? Before Anna could fully grasp her thoughts, a subtle rustling noise drifted in from outside, close to the rear of the house. Her breath hitched in her throat as she snatched a flashlight from the table and made her way to the back door. With deliberate care, she eased it open, the frigid night air nipping at her skin. Is anyone present? She called out, yet the only response was an echoing silence. Just as she was on the verge of retreating indoors, a subtle glow danced in the depths of the forest. It was far away, yet undeniably clear, throbbing like a guiding light. It brought to mind Evelyn's lantern, yet there was an unsettling quality to it. Despite her reservations, Anna trailed behind, her every footfall sinking into the moist ground beneath her. Her heart raced as the glow guided her toward an ancient cabin hidden among the trees, a location she had never encountered before. The door stood slightly ajar, allowing a whisper of light to filter through the cracks. With a determined shove, Anna opened the door, her flashlight casting a beam that danced over the dust-laden interior. The atmosphere was heavy with the odor of decomposition. In the heart of the room, a small wooden box rested on the table, accompanied by a photograph turned face down. With trembling hands, she lifted it from the surface. As she turned it over, her breath hitched in her throat. It captured a moment of her and Stellan. Yet, in the photograph, her eyes appeared hollow, devoid of life. Inscribed on the reverse of the photograph were the words, "Continue your quest, if you have the courage to confront reality." From behind her, a floorboard let out a soft creak. Anna twirled, her flashlight sputtering before plunging into darkness. A chill hand clasped her shoulder, and a well-known voice murmured softly in her ear. "Anna, you have crossed the line." She stood still, her body immobilized by terror. It was the unmistakable voice of Lucas. Yet, the manner in which he spoke, calm, knowing, and terrifying, revealed to her that the man she believed she knew had, in truth, been a stranger all along. Anna stood still in the oppressive darkness, her breath catching as Lucas's voice pierced through her, sending a shiver coursing through her entire being. He lingered just behind her, yet his presence offered no solace. Instead, her heart raced fiercely, as if it were determined to escape the confines of her chest. Lucas advanced, his features softly lit by the gentle radiance seeping from the weathered wooden house. In the muted glow, he appeared strange, distant, and threatening. "What brings you to this place?" Anna stammered, her voice quivering, devoid of the assurance she typically possessed. Lucas hesitated before responding. He gazed at her, his intense eyes as profound and engulfing as a black hole, devouring every inquiry she held. In that moment, Anna came to the startling realization that she was a stranger to him. A subtle smile flickered across his lips, yet it held no warmth, an echo of emptiness. "Ah, so you believe you've stumbled upon the hidden truth, do you?" Lucas finally spoke, his voice steady, unnervingly steady, the sort of steadiness that sent chills down her spine. "The letters, the photographs, those tiny breadcrumbs you've been tracing, they merely scratch the surface of something much larger beneath. Could you clarify what you mean? Where is Clara? What have you done to her?" Anna's voice trembled, quaking with a mix of fear and desperation. She could no longer contain it. All that she had unearthed, the shards of Lucas's history and Clara's cautions, formed a mosaic of uncertainty she hesitated to piece together. With each deliberate step, Lucas advanced, his formidable aura compelling her to retreat. "Clara." He elongated the name, relishing it as if it were a secret incantation. She selected the misguided route. "Anna." She believed she could flee, that she could break free from it all. Yet, escape remains elusive for all, for her and for you alike. Not. Anna instinctively withdrew, her back colliding with the worn edge of the ancient wooden table. Papers lay strewn across the floor, and amidst the chaos, the peculiar photograph she had collected earlier caught her eye. "What are you saying, Lucas? What is there to escape from? What have you done to Clara?" Her voice trembled, caught in the tumult of anger and dread. Lucas hesitated before replying. He lowered himself, retrieving the photograph from the ground. He contemplated it for a brief moment, his face a mask of inscrutability, before raising his eyes to meet Anna's once more. Clara possessed a remarkable strength, yet comprehension eluded her. She failed to grasp that Stellan is more than merely a horse. He holds the essential piece. Now, you find yourself repeating the very error she once made. Stellan. Anna's voice trembled as she fought to grasp his words. What secrets are you concealing, Lucas? Wasn't Evelyn right? You wounded Clara, for she uncovered too many truths. Lucas made the decision to run. Anna raced toward the barn. The cold key clutched so firmly in her hand that its sharp edges felt as though they were etching into her palm. The wind howled fiercely, a haunting cry that sent shivers coursing through her, yet she pressed on undeterred. Her thoughts whirled with shards of Lucas, Evelyn, and their enigmatic phrases, coalescing into a tempest of unresolved inquiries. Stellan harbored a secret, a force so potent that it had driven Lucas and Evelyn to the edge of despair in their attempts to safeguard or dominate it. Yet, what could it have been? As Anna approached the barn, the faint light of the lantern, swaying outside, intensified the heavy ambience surrounding her. The barn door stood slightly open, gently swaying with the breeze. Within the confines of the room, an oppressive silence enveloped her, shattered solely by the relentless thrum of her racing heart. With a firm push, she opened the door and entered, casting the beam of her flashlight across the shadowy expanse within. The barn stood silent and vacant. Stellan had vanished. Her chest constricted, a wave of panic washing over her. She twirled, her gaze flitting about in search of any trace of him. A sudden gust hurled the barn door against the wall with a resounding bang, causing her to startle. The beam of the flashlight swept across the barn's corner, revealing a faint glimmer hidden beneath a mound of straw. A quaint wooden box. With a sense of urgency, Anna hurried forward, her hands quaking as she liberated it from its confines. The key she held nestled seamlessly into the lock. As the lid opened with a gentle click, it unveiled a collection of time-worn documents and a weathered photograph. As she lifted the photo, a catch in her breath betrayed her emotions. Clara, Lucas, and Evelyn stood before a magnificent black horse named Stellan. Yet, it was not the picture that rattled her to her very essence. The inscription etched on the reverse side captivated my attention. Stellan transcends the mere identity of a horse. He embodies all that is left. Safeguard him, or we shall forfeit it all. Anna turned the pages with a delicate touch. Clara's journal entries lay before me, the ink worn yet unmistakably clear. She flipped through the pages, her hands trembling as the narrative revealed a tale far more sinister than she had ever envisioned. Clara penned her thoughts on Lucas, reflecting on their relationship and the unsettling transformation he underwent, turning into someone controlling and fearsome. Yet it was the concluding message that rendered Anna motionless. Lucas persists relentlessly. He is convinced that Stellan holds the secret to reversing everything. Yet Stellan is not mine, nor his. Should I vanish, seek out Stellan. He shall guide the path forward. Before Anna could completely grasp the significance of Clara's words, a sound from behind her caused her to whirl around. The beam of her flashlight cut through the darkness, revealing Lucas in the doorway. One side of his face was cloaked in shadow, while the other was starkly illuminated, showcasing an expression of unwavering resolve. His eyes sparkled with a perilous blend of rage and determination. "You shouldn't have opened that box, Anna," he said, his voice a low murmur thick with foreboding. "You have no idea what you're stepping into." Anna held the box firmly against her chest, her voice quivering yet resolute. "What have you done to Clara? And what of Stellan? What secrets are you concealing?" Lucas advanced, his eyes fixed with determination. Clara believed she could escape the truth. She believed she could take Stellan and depart, yet she was mistaken, much like you are at this moment. Just as Lucas was about to continue, a piercing scream rang out from behind him. Evelyn burst into the barn, brandishing a wooden staff, her expression ablaze with rage. "Stop, Lucas! It's over," she shouted, her voice quaking with fury yet unwavering in its resolve. Lucas pivoted to confront her, a mocking smile twisting his mouth. "Evelyn," he said with a hint of mockery, "still the ever-loyal protector. But you know as well as I do that you can't stop me." Clara found herself unable, and so too shall you. Evelyn remained unperturbed. Instead, she delved into her pocket and tossed a tiny key in Anna's direction. "Anna, hurry, seek out Stellan. He holds the key." "Ignore his words." Anna grasped the key, yet her legs seemed anchored to the earth. Her voice trembled with urgency as she cried out, "What are you both concealing from me? What exactly is Stellan? What became of Clara?" With a swift motion, Lucas propelled himself toward Evelyn, yet she stood poised and prepared. With a swift motion, she swung the staff to obstruct his advance, yet his formidable strength proved too much, and she fell to the ground with a resounding thud. Before he could take another step, the barn erupted with a deafening, piercing whinny. Stellan burst into the barn, his presence so commanding that the very earth seemed to shudder beneath him. His dark eyes flickered with intensity in the dim light, capturing their gaze.